Hey everyone, I'm going to talk about Unit 5, the two types of theories, the solution focused and narrative, and how they went along with the video we watched. Okay, so question number one, the counselor working with the single mother and the two sons. So basically, how is this consistent with solution focused counseling, and what techniques did the counselor use? So definitely the counselor was working with solution focused. He started off the session by basically saying, I need to learn from you. So in solution focused therapy, the counselor definitely plays a role of, I'm learning from the family. You guys are the experts. I need to learn from you in order to help you. So this counselor started off by saying, teach me about your family. I need to take notes about this. So the counselor did that. He also asked each member what they wanted to change. So it wasn't necessarily what he had heard previously from before the video started, or from the other counselor that they had worked with about Nick not turning in his homework. He didn't focus just on Nick based on prior conversations. He wanted to hear from each member of the family what the problem was and how they saw the problem. And he also asked what they had tried in the past to resolve the issue. That way he could figure out, did anything work from the past? I thought that was good. He also utilizes the miracle question, which I love that. So I think he asked Nick, if you were to go to sleep and wake up, how would the rest of your day work if there was no homework? If there was nothing that you had to worry about regards homework, how would your morning start? How would your day at school start? He also utilized the scale system, so 1 to 10 about homework. He used metaphors, so the homework monster, that seemed to really get the kids on board, and that goes along with the counselor really spoke their language, which in solution focus you have to be on their level and communicate like they do. So at one point Nick started he was singing a song about things that he liked to do that he was good at, so not necessarily homework, but being funny and acting things out, acting like Mickey Mouse. And so the counselor kind of used the same song Nick used about homework and what the homework monster says to him. And so that was how the counselor was building a relationship with not only Nick, but the brother and the mother, because they could see how the counselor was really trying to help and be a part of the family and really cared. So that was good. And so he also utilized a break. So he took a break kind of towards the end of counseling, and then he took his notes and he created a letter which emphasized the positives. So it wasn't solution focused, is not problem focused. And so that's definitely what this counselor did. He was trying to dig for positives, which was helpful. So it wasn't just, Nick, why aren't you doing your homework? Mom, why aren't you laying down the law, and why aren't you helping him with the homework? That would be solely focused on the problem. This counselor didn't do that. He focused on, okay, well, tell me about times that you have turned your homework in. What does that look like? And so I think that was good. And so yes. What would the session look like if the theory had been narrative family counseling? So if it had been narrative family counseling, there would have been a lot of metaphors. I think there were similarities between the two. Like with the metaphor of the monster, the homework monster, are those same metaphors in narrative counseling. So I think in one of the readings we did, it talked about an invisible fence around the family, and sometimes there's gates, and so sometimes members of the family come in at certain times and then they leave at certain times, so helping the family wrap their mind around that. So I think that helped. That was similar with the homework monster, so that helped Nick kind of put something in his mind about the homework and helped him visualize it. And then also I think there was a similarity with at one point the counselor said, not all, he made the family fill in the blank. So not all families are perfect. Mine's not perfect, but one thing I like about my family is, and so that is similar to solution based. That is similar to narrative based, because it's putting things into perspective. So giving those examples, not everybody's perfect. All families go through issues. Your issue is similar to this issue. So that was a similarity. But I do think if there were differences, it would be more focused on the future. So in this clip, or in this session we watched, it did have a future orientation. So it was all about, like, how are we going to work on this homework? But I think with narrative, it is more solely, it talks about the past, it talks about the future, it talks about the present. And so I think that it would, people would be storytelling. The mom might be telling a lot of stories about the past. The sons would be really diving into the past, present, future, what they want to see. And with this solution focus, it was more about, okay, what's going on right now? And then I think I said it would really be also focused on, how do you think society views you? So it may have been more of, what do you think your classmates think of you? What do you think other parents think of you? How does that affect your story? How does that affect how you feel? So I think it would be more like that. So what diversity, social justice, advocacy issue were present. And so I would say definitely the single mom. She seemed very frustrated. She seemed concerned. She seemed tired. So definitely dealing with that. And also, another sibling that was kind of out of the mix, and the other parent. So those were, I think, things that were a big issue for this family. So I would say a type of support or action that I think would be good was to take the mom possibly aside. So I would want to talk to the mom, have another session with her solely to work on how is she coping with being a single parent. How does she handle it? Because she just touched very, very briefly on it in our video. She just said, she's strong-willed or something like that. But I'd want to know, does she need better coping exercises? Does she need relaxation techniques? Is that something we could work on? And then I think also a support group. So maybe a single mother support group. I think having her hear other single mothers going through the same things with their kids, not necessarily they're bad kids, just everyday issues, but I'm sure it wears on a single mom. So if she had a support group that she was a part of, she could really have those bonds and feel like, okay, I'm not alone. I'm not doing a bad job. These are things that happen to everybody. So I think those are things that I would do about that. And then, so question number 57 in our book, how is power distributed in your family? Who is in charge of what? What role did gender play in forming these assignments? And what happened within the family if one member tried to step outside of their assigned gender role. So power was distributed in my family. Really, my mom and dad worked pretty close together. It wasn't necessarily one was higher than the other. It all depends on the situation. Sometimes the situation, my dad would be a little bit higher, and then sometimes my mom. So with disciplining me, it was my mom took the power and did that more so than my dad. But my mom, I think my family kind of worked on the man is the leader of the house, but the man also respects the female and the wife and takes into account what they think. So it really was situational, to be honest. Like with money-wise, that my parents worked close together. They made decisions together. But just the discipline my mom took control of. My dad didn't want to have any part of that. I don't know if gender did play a role in that. Maybe because I'm a female and my dad didn't like the idea of disciplining a female. That could have been it. And then what happened if one member tried to step outside of their assigned gender role? The only thing I can think of with that is I was, a girl, and so growing up I wasn't allowed to I had like guy friends in high school and nothing romantic going on with guy friends, but I wasn't allowed to have two of my guy friends pick me up first because I was a female, and that may look bad. So if someone saw us, they may think, why is Mary Beth the only girl in that car with two boys? And my parents were afraid that that would have a bad reputation. I would have a bad reputation, or people would think the wrong things. So they didn't like me to be in the car alone with two males. Even though they were my friends, even though they knew them, even though they trusted them, I trusted them. I just couldn't do things like that. So I think that's some of the times where I was treated differently. Not necessarily my mom treated differently by my dad, or within that relationship. It was more with my relationship with my parents and the role of a female, and that they were super protective of me, and I shouldn't do things that females should not do. So yes, so I think that was that. Alrighty, well, thanks guys, and look forward to hearing what you have to say. See ya.